Well, I'm in my shop today. It's definitely a little warmer outside today than it was yesterday. It's 9 degrees outside, and I did turn the heat on here. I'm at like about 45 degrees in the shop, so I got a little bit of maintenance to do on my saw. I got a new dry sprocket to put on because the other one's getting wore, and I got a new gas cap because this one is starting to leak, so I picked up a new one. So we're gonna get that put on. But the main reason I want to do this video is this is the DGP bar oil. It's biodegradable. This stuff I had gotten at Paul Bunyan to try. I really like it. I actually like it enough that I actually ordered a full case of it. I think it comes out to being about $28 a gallon when you order it. But this chain is the one that I had on my saw when I cut through the ice, and that was almost 2 weeks ago. And I basically got back, took it apart, laid it on the table in here. There is no surface rust anywhere on the chain or on the bar from cutting in the ice. And I mean, everything is good and clean, no surface rust. Everything just feels oily. So I've been liking this. It's normally like a light bar. I've noticed a little bit more of kind of like more of a rubbing growl kind of sound. With this bar oil, most of that has gone away. So I figured I'd bring this in from outside. So this was sitting outside. It was 12 below yesterday outside, and it's 9 degrees above today. And I just brought this in from outside. So I'm gonna open this up, and I'm gonna pour in here so you can see about how it pours. I just poke a hole on the bottom and a hole on the top. I leave the foil in so that way I can try to pour. So I'm squeezing the jug real lightly, so it comes out, pours pretty good. I think yesterday if I would have tried doing this, it probably would have been a lot thicker than that, but it pours pretty well. I'm sure if I took the foil completely off, yes, I could probably fill the tank faster on the saw. But I find the small hole works pretty good just to fill it. So, and I mean this stuff here, you rub it on your fingers and it's not super like sticky. I mean, you can rub your fingers together and it's almost got like a roll to it. So that's worked pretty good. I mean, I found that, even after I do that, I can wipe my hands off on a rag and my fingers still slide real nicely together. I almost use that like lotion instead of lotions. So I've liked it so far. Adam tried it in his saw. He liked it, so it was to the point where it's like, you know what, I'm getting down on this gallon, so figured I should order more. So I ordered another case of 4, so that'll hopefully be here before this one's gone. If not, well, I guess then I'll just have to maybe use something else. I've used other bar oils. This is what I found that I like the best. So I guess the first thing we're gonna do the easy change. Spin off the gas cap, pull the old one out, set that aside, and I'm just gonna take a rag, just wipe this out real nicely, just make sure there's no debris and dust in there. So I'm just gonna put the new one in. It's about that simple. Just put that in there. Turn her down in. Hopefully that'll stop the leaking issue, because I did have the saw sitting like this on the bench, and I came in here the next day, moved the saw, and I did notice I had a little bit of a blue puddle underneath it, and everything was all wet on the side of the saw. So I just laid it on its side so that it would quit leaking. But then as far as changing the dry sprocket on this saw is definitely nice, because it just takes a screwdriver and you just pop this little clip off of it, set that aside, and then drop the washer. Then there's just a washer that goes on top, and it's just a matter of, there's the sprocket. Now if I wanted to, I can actually pull the clutch drum right off. I just usually gotta be careful that I don't lose the bearing that's in there. But occasionally I take it off and I blow all that out of the clutch. But I just did that not that long ago, so that should be good for now. Uh-oh. Get back in there. Well, then I'll just take my drive sprocket, open up the bag, and it'll just literally drop right on. Put the washer back on. And get the bearing pushed back down in there so the washer sits in there. You know, and the only thing I've always said with these clips is, you know, if you're not careful and you don't put extra fingers around them, they will go flying, and they're not easy to find. And I don't have any extra ones here, so I didn't want to lose it. So there, I got the new drive sprocket on there. We'll be able to touch up my chain, and I'll be able to put the bar back on this saw. So I guess we'll be able to see if it's going to leak anymore. I mean, I do have a little bit of oil that's leaked out on the table, which, I mean, a lot of people say that, you know, one saw leaks more than the other. They all leak, and you know, the thing about it is the majority of the leak comes from oil that's in here from while you're cutting, and then it just happens to leak out while it's sitting. So, I mean, if you're going to store your saw for a long period of time and you got problems with leaking oil, well, you just drain the oil out of it when you're going to store it. So as you can see, this is the drive sprocket that was on there. You can see how it's got wear, you know, grooved down in there, versus this is a brand new one where there is no wear on the top. So it was getting to be about time to change it, because this is getting grooved down in there a fair amount. So I figured it was time to change it. I figured, seeing as how I was picking up one, I figured, well, I might as well get two of them while I'm there. I can throw the second one as a spare in my chain box. So there's a little bit of wear in there. You can kind of see it's dipped down in there. So it was time. I mean, that one's the original one, and I've probably gone through a couple different chains on that saw since I bought it. So it was time. And I mean, that was probably only $10 or $12 fix to buy a new one, so I figured I might as well get a couple of them. So that was what they look like. Well, I'm gonna put my chain and bar back on. I did touch up the chain on the grinder a little bit, so that one's good and sharp again. So I usually just set the bar on, then I grab my chain, make sure that I got it laying the right way here, and then usually I just get it on the tip of the bar, and then I lay it down the top just to get it on there. Well, get it put in the drive sprocket, make sure that it falls down in where it should. And then I usually just pull it forward so that the chain's fairly well in the bar. And that should be pretty close to where my cover was set, and then I can just get the cover put on here. I just might have to wiggle it a little bit. It should pop right on. Spin my nuts on there. Get them up there so that they're close. Then I usually always make sure your brake's off. You can see, obviously, it loosened up quite a bit. Must not have been quite in the drive sprocket quite all the way. And then I just snug it up. And then I usually always rotate it a little bit. Yes, I should wear a glove doing that, but I'm pushing on the back side of the teeth. I'm not pulling on this side of the tooth, which is really sharp. So I usually always lift up on my bar to check my chain tension, which that seems to be pretty good right about there. And then I always just kind of keep lifting up on the nose of the bar while I snug it up. If if it comes loose, that's usually what I always do, is I always just loosen up a little bit, snug up the chain tension. I always lift up on the nose of the bar. That way it's got the point of not having a bunch of pressure. That's another way you can safely move the chain, that you're not catching your finger. I'm just using the screwdriver on the back side of the tooth and pushing, not going this way. I mean, you could go that way and just push on the front of the raker, but you could slip off. That's why usually you always want to go the opposite direction of what the tooth is, which is technically the direction of what the saw runs, because the teeth are coming this way, pulling the chips. So I just fired the saw up here and ran it a little bit, and you can see the oil on the bar from just running it a little bit. So that's all the oil on there, you know, just to make sure. I just wanted to make sure that it was getting oil, just so that way everything was set. And I do that too, because then, you know, sometimes your chain will loosen up a little bit after you run it the first time. But that right there, I mean, it's just, could I get a nickel under there? Yep, probably. But I know when I start cutting, it'll probably loosen up a little bit. But I got a nice amount of oil on there, so we're gonna put the cover on there. That way it's all set to go. Oh, there you go. There was a quick little video of little saw maintenance and why I like this bar oil. You have many of you that have watched Buck and Billy Ray. He uses this oil. He did just talk about this in one of his latest videos, which probably was a couple weeks ago by now. So I do like this. Obviously he's liked it. He's had 2 years of using this oil, where I'm still on my first gallon, and I'm not even through my first gallon, and I've noticed the difference in it already. So I have another case of this coming. Probably will be here in a week or so. So this here should make it through till then. If not, I can get one of our other bar oils out. I was usually always I use the Husky bar oil all the time. If I was cutting a lot with Chris, there was some times that I just used his bar oil, just because it was what was there. Some people give me a hard time because, yes, I do like using the canned gas in my saws, just so when they do sit for a long period of time, it doesn't go bad. Yes, I've mixed fuel. I've mixed fuel for saws before, used it. I still use the canned gas once in a while. I also like the smell of the canned gas. Yes, I could mix my own. I could get high octane fuel, mix my own. I can get premium, mix my own. So as far as what I do, I mean, I guess if you want to be mad at me because I use canned gas once in a while, that's fine. I enjoy it. I like the smell of it. I have fun using it. So thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye.